wonderful competition of sorts between the different speakers. Glenn appeared to be the winner. He enrolled at UCLA Law School after over 14 years of active duty service in the US Navy as an intelligence officer. He rose to the rank of lieutenant commander and was mobilized 3 times following 9/11. He's a 92 graduate of UPenn, and his passion for the environment led him to a career path focused on wildlife enforcement. His work with the Navy took him, among other places, to Lagos. Therefore, he served as U.S. Naval Attaché to Nigeria, working on maritime and hydrocarbon security in the Gulf of Guinea, as well as issues related to black market trade in endangered species and high species piracy. He then joined the Florida Department of Fish and Wildlife, where he enforced wildlife and natural resources conservation through the Everglades and the Gulf of Mexico and Florida Keys. At UCLA, Glenn Yeck has been a member of our public interest law program. He's been active in the Animal Law Society and has held several positions with the Department of Justice Wildlife and Marine Resources section. The LA District Attorney's Environmental Crime section also had his volunteership, and he had a full-time externship at the U.S. Attorney's Criminal Division. He's committed to using his UCLA law degree to prosecute wildlife crime and dismantle underworld animal trafficking rings. Please join me in welcoming Glenn Yeck.
I am not what happened to me. I am what I chose to become. The words of Carl Jung present us with an outlook through which to exploit the extraordinary potential of the law degrees soon to be conferred on this stage. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, friends, family, faculty, classmates, Friday, May 7th, 2010 marks the day our UCLA law experience ends as students, and the day the university sends us out into the world to actualize the profound utility of the JD, LLM, and SJDs soon to be conferred. After thousands of hours of assiduous preparation, it is finally time to implement the elementary skills we've accrued and the principles of justice we've internalized. It's no longer time that we learn to think like lawyers, but time to act like and be lawyers. And not just for our friends or family or loved ones, but for millions of our fellow citizens out there who may not be able to tell you what the very first amendment to the Constitution says, or perhaps even be able to read it at all, but people who need good lawyers now as much as at any time in history. We ourselves step out into the world a bit anxious about trying times. Some of us heavily burdened with debt, many of us unsure of the next step. Nevertheless, the resources and options available to us, most of which have yet to manifest themselves, are beyond the capacity of most people on this planet to even comprehend. Of over 200 nations on the globe, only just over half are electoral democracies. Considering that nearly half the world's population lives on just $2 a day, upward of 3 billion people would likely change places with us, sight unseen, no questions asked, no second thoughts. Any apprehensions that we in Westwood may harbor are unfathomable to a vast number of people merely surviving on this planet. You, on the other hand, as UCLA degree holders, are among a handful of eminently erudite professionals to graduate from a top-tier law school in the United States of America, and you are certainly in quite distinguished company. But that is not the point I'd like to make today. The message I'd like to convey is that the cachet of the class of 2010 has nothing to do with our LSAT scores, our cumulative GPA, or our post-graduation employment rate. Rather, our reputation rests in how well we finish what we've started here. With privilege comes responsibility. And I submit to you, classmates, that our renown lays dormant in transforming the latent potency of these diplomas. As proud as we all feel right now, right here, our renown lays in the 400 or so diplomas soon to be conferred, and which will adorn 400 or so walls across the United States and 5 continents. Our promise is still untapped, resting quietly in our nascent legal faculties, our ability to animate the spirit and implement the vision of the idealists who innovated our judicial system. It was about 220 years ago that a bunch of wise men in wigs sweat their way through a hot Philadelphia summer, carefully crafting what has since become the longest governing constitution on planet Earth. A prescient document strong enough to guide a young nation born in revolution, yet subtle enough to accommodate the demands of a 50-state federalist system over 200 years later. Yes, America is the land of opportunity, of abundant natural resources, and free market ingenuity. But the truth is that neither of these ingredients, nor the values of the many cultures that constitute America's proverbial melting pot, are as responsible for America's success over the last 2 centuries as has been the Constitution itself, the manuscript our military and police forces swear to defend with their lives to this day. If you are seated here in cap and gown, then you may likewise soon be asked to swear to uphold that same Constitution. The framers avowed that they labored so conscientiously in a sincere quest to establish justice, with a capital J, in order to, quote, promote the general welfare. Their mission in that sense was similar to that of the California Regents, established in 1869 with 3 cardinal commitments: teaching, research, and public service. Its mission statement propounds that California universities are to serve as centers of higher learning and provide long-term benefits to society through public outreach. Thus, decades from now, whether we're retiring as professors, judges, politicians, or attorneys, our distinction will be determined by what we did with the diplomas we earn today. All things in perspective, the opportunities available to us, as enabled by the Constitution, and coupled with our law degrees, have garnered for us, quite literally, the capacity to change the world. Our legacy lays in how well we help corporations avert corruption and banks forestall economic ruin, how we fortify our vibrant democracy by presiding over and properly administering fair elections. Our future is favorable if we as prosecutors pursue truth over convictions, and when we as defense counsel exonerate the wrongly accused, when we as leaders and litigators relentlessly pursue racial, gender, and social justice. I submit to you, classmates, that if you are more concerned with accumulating wealth than how you may utilize your law degree to do good, then you have not learned to think like a lawyer. If you proceed to measure your worth by hours billed, then you have not embraced the muse that moved our founding fathers, nor have you ascertained the prodigious promise in your own professional prowess. Aristotle asserted that wealth does not bring about excellence, but conversely, excellence brings about wealth. As cash-strapped as our nation and our state are, we all know deep down that all the money in the world will not bring about excellence in this country, on this campus, or in those classrooms. The earnest pursuit of excellence by each and every one of us here, however, surely will restore and ensure this nation remains on a course of which we can all be proud. In closing, I aver that pursuing justice is not a pipe dream. It is not flowery talk. It is not flowery talk for a commencement speech, but the palpable power a law degree imparts to its holders, you. The diploma you will soon hold in your hand and retain for the rest of your life has imbued you with the acumen to attain that justice. Whether environmental or entertainment, tort or tax, medical or music law, our common denominator as new counselors is that our country is hungry to receive the bright minds gathered here today. I entreat you to nobly maximize the potentiality in one of the most potent diplomas on the planet. As Einstein said, only morality in our actions gives beauty and dignity to our lives. A sincere thank you to our professors and administrators, and a heartfelt congratulations to you, classmates. Go out into the world and do well, but more importantly, go out and do good, to beautify and dignify the world through your lives as lawyers. Achieving a legacy that matters will not happen by accident. We are the class of 2010, and we are not what happens to us. We are what we choose to become. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenn, for your inspiring words. We're on in the program to one of my